Alright, so back at it again. iPhone 7 this time. Pretty busted up screen. So we're going to start like always, and it is hot because I've had it on my pad heating up. I'm going to start by taking these two bottom screws out with a pentalope. I think I said Penelope in the last video. My mistake. A pentalope screwdriver. I'll remove these screws. Place them to the side for later. And we're going to get at this screen. Alright. Let me go ahead and get this replacement screen out. And replacement screen. Set that to the side. And we'll start down here at the bottom. Get your spudger down underneath that screen. I'm going to work around it, prying it up. That side is loose. I'll work around this side, prying it up. Now your connectors are going to be on this side, so you're going to want to open it, push on the bottom towards that direction to free that top. You want to open it towards the right hand side, just like that. And let's get it open. Taking a look on the inside, we're going to have to remove 6 screws, 4 down here, 2 up there. You want to keep track of your screws, keep track of where they go. And if you watch my videos, you might wonder, why do I not use my electric screwdriver on these pentalope screws? Well, I'll tell you why. Because these pentalope screws strip super easy. Even though that's a small screwdriver and doesn't have a whole lot of torque, it's too much. Pop these little connectors loose, and we'll start on the top. So we got these Phillips screws up here. Come out with ease. Ooh, rocking the camera. And I think these pentalope screws should just be Phillips. I really don't understand why Apple chooses to use different screws. Now, right to repair has went through. They should just change them all. Change them all to Phillips. It makes no sense at this point. I believe they still just want to make it difficult for the average person to repair, so the average person will just take it to Apple. Take it to Apple. They know how to fix it. They have the right tools. You don't have to buy anything new or special. Alright, so we got 4 pentalope screws down here at the bottom. Holds in this home button. Remember, we want to keep them all together. I'm also applying some heat to it. That way it'll make taking the adhesive off a little easier, because the home button has a little flex cable connected to it, and it is adhered to the screen. Once we remove this, you'll be able to see it. It's connected right there, and there's adhesive underneath of that. There's also adhesive underneath the camera at the top. we'll get to that here in a minute. Get all this glass out of the way. We're going to pop this ribbon cable loose. It's getting a little hot. We're just going to get up under it and we're going to just twist it. And I don't want to yank on it. You just give it a little twist and pop it loose. Gently, very gently. So we're going to take our spudger underneath the back of this connector. If I can. If not, I'll use the triangle tool. Just get up under it and it should fall out. If not, you can just push it out from the back towards the front. Now let's get these screws. There's 6 of them up top, all Phillips. This is going to take the ear speaker and the sensors out, as well as your front camera. And the last one over here in this corner. Alright, so now we're going to take this bracket off. We're going to pull this to the side. Pull the camera to the side. Just lift out that speaker. It's a little dirty. Looks fine. Now, under here, we're going to need a few things. Your screen may or may not need this little plastic piece for the camera. Mine does. We're just going to take that out. And then gently we're going to get right up under these sensors and just lightly pull on them. It should come right out. Alright, now that they're loose, we're going to pull this cable up a little bit and just grab it, and you can just pull the rest of it to the side. Just like that. That's what we're looking at. There's your camera. Alright, I'm going to set that to the side. We also need this little plastic piece right here that holds that sensor in. Almost done. Now we have 6 more screws that hold this back plate in place. Thanks, Apple. These sometimes can be easy or they can be difficult. Just depends on the phone. Some of them don't like to come out very easily. Some of them strip. So as you're taking this out, you're going to want to put something behind this, maybe your finger. Just don't let it slip and stick yourself. Been there, done that. It does not feel good. Because if you put pressure on these little pieces here without something behind them, they could bend, they could break. You could even lay it up against the edge of a table and just set it right down on it. That will give you a little force to push against it. I've done that many times. If I can't get them out fairly easily, that's what I will do. So, now we're going to lift this back plate. You're going to have this cable stuck to the bottom. Just peel it away. And that one's done. Alright, so I'm going to sweep off my workspace real quick. Get this glass off so I don't lay my screen down on it. scratch it, crack it. This is just a makeup brush. My girlfriend's old makeup brush. Works great. Don't worry, I replaced hers. I needed something to sweep some glass off one day and I just didn't have anything, so I stole her makeup brush. She knows it, but alright. Get me a little drink of water real quick. And let's get the party started. Here's the new screen. I'm going to peel this off. I'll peel this off. And first things first, I'm just going to lay this on it and attach a couple screws. I'm not going to attach many. So what you're going to want to do first is pull up on this, not too hard, but enough to where you can line it up right here. You can line this up because once you put that up against this, it's going to stick because there was that adhesive. Remember where we peeled that off? So if you don't pull this up, it may be too far down. You won't be able to get your connectors connected. See how they're lined up? If this is too far down or one of them's too far down, they're not going to line up. They're not going to want to connect. You're going to have problems. So we're just going to take two of these screws, one here. Remember, put something behind it. And then we're going to just do another one over here. Oh, it doesn't matter which one, as long as you can get it held in place. So now it's held in place. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to make it easier. So we're going to push on that plastic, fold that plastic down, so we can put our home button back up inside. Just like that. Make sure it's flush. Put the plastic back down. That'll help hold that home button in place. Alright, so we gotta have this laid down. There's a little spot on the back of the screen right there. If you can see that. There's a little notch right there. There's a hole that lines up. Just put it in there. So now we're going to lay this connector down and we're going to snap them together. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a pain in the neck. And I'm going to say the latter. Yep, I'm not wanting to connect very well. There we go. Now you don't want to put too much force on it because you can bend the pins in these connectors and then your phone is not going to work. So we don't want to do that. So apply pressure, but gently. Gently, gently. If you're going to repair things, that is the number one thing, is to be gentle. Alright, so now that we got that, we're just going to make sure the screen works. So we're going to attach these. Firm but gentle. Now, before we plug in that battery, if you don't plug this in, it's going to take a minute to boot because it's going to notice that something's missing and it's going to do some error correcting and try to find it. We want it to boot, so we're just going to clip that back into place. Fold over this power connector, flip it over. Now the screen's going to be dark because we don't have our light sensor, our ambient light sensor, in the back of the screen yet, so it's going to appear to be dark, which is fine. Ooh, too bright. So that is fine by me. Start this bad boy up, test it, and then we'll take it back apart. And it's working. Home button works. Good to go. Now we tear it back down. Pop the home or power button loose. Pop the screen cables loose. Pop that loose. Move this to the side, and we're going to start working on the screen. First things first, I'm just going to get the rest of these side screws in. Get them out of the way, since I don't like them. Don't really understand the need for a full back plate, considering they changed it on the 8. Some of them. I believe it's, I don't know if it's the 8 or the 8 Plus that has just this little piece right here. And I believe the later model iPhone 7s, I believe they have a small piece too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Write it down in the comments if you've ever seen that small piece on an iPhone 7. I'm fairly certain I've seen that. Could be wrong. It could have been an 8. Alright. So let's get this piece put back over the home button. Get this little bracket put back into place. Remember to keep track of your screws. These, I believe, are all the same size. I haven't specifically measured them or looked at them or looked them up, but they appear to be the same length. So if you happen to mix these up, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Same thing with the screws on the side. Those aren't a big deal. But everything else that we took off are all different sizes. So let's get up here to the top. Lock this focus in. Find my tweezers. And we're going to put this little piece back in place right there. We're going to put this back in place. Now, if you look closely, I'm going to lock that. If you look closely, there's notches in the top and the bottom. Those go up and down. And there's also a little curve. There's also a little curve at the top that goes against that. So, make sure you place it in there the correct way, because the camera also has little notches at the top and bottom, if you can see that. There's a little notch on each side. Not sure how well it's really going to show up on camera, but there are little notches. So we're going to first line up this bottom piece. There's 2 little holes and there's 2 little notches. So we're just going to make sure we put that down over top of those little notches. Get it lined up. And then these should just pretty much fall in place. Just kind of push on them a little bit, they'll go right down in there. So we're going to have to hold this in place while we bring the speaker back down. Now the speaker has those little 4 springs, and they touch those little 4 circles on that connector. So make sure you put that in the right direction. Fold it over, keep holding it, And then we're going to bring that bracket in. Kind of got to do a little dance with it. Make sure everything stays lined up while holding it in place. And swapping your pieces in quickly, firmly, but also gently. So we got one in, and now we're going to go for this top left side on the bracket. Put that in there. Maybe. Now we can fully let go of it. It's not going anywhere. Go ahead and get the rest of these screws in. Alright, so it seems to be going in a little sideways. We'll just unscrew it and screw it back in. Not a problem. Now we're going to go for that one. That one's doing the same. And make sure it's straight up and down. I'm trying to angle it for the camera, but we're just going to have to go straight up and down. And there you are. We're going to bring the phone back up. Here's the phone. And we're just going to connect everything back up. Firmly and gently. Connect these connectors. You should hear it clip in like that. Don't forget your camera and ear speaker. This one's a little more difficult. You may need the assistance of your spudger. There it is. It clipped. Alright. Fold over your battery connector. Let's power it back on. It should be brighter this time now that we have the ambient light sensor up against the screen. It can see the light. I know it probably still looks dark here, but it will get brighter. While that's booting, we're going to go ahead and put this bracket back on. These screws are very important to keep track of where they belong because they're all different sizes. And if you mix them up, it's best to just not attempt to put them in unless you know where they go and you're for certain. I would not attempt to put them in. I just don't want to go in. Come on, work with me. There it goes. Alright, keep it lined up. Because these are all different sizes. So if you get that long one over here, you're going to screw it right into your motherboard. I've seen it happen. And it's bad news because your phone stops working. Depending on where you put it in it, you may just damage your phone and it starts acting funny. But more than likely it's gonna die. Okay, so here's another little problem that we can run into. I'm gonna angle this camera over and zoom in. So this right here, see that how it's loose? That is what the screw goes into. The screw goes through this bracket into this screw. So that's loose. And it requires also a special screwdriver. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's got a 4-way tip. It's not a Phillips. It has a point on the end so it can go down into the hole. See that? So we're gonna have to screw that back in because it's loose. It happens sometimes when you unscrew the screw because it goes the same direction as the screw. It screws in this way, the screw screws in that way. So when you unscrew it, that also sometimes gets unscrewed. So just keep that in mind. If you see that being loose, it can be a problem. Your board might short out. I don't think that it has a high probability of doing so. But if there's screws in it, I'd put it back. Alright, so let's check this out. No SIM card, of course. Home button. And we're working. Just like that. Pull this. If we can pull that down to brighten it up. Hang on, let me do it. Alright, let me take it off camera real quick. Nope, can't pull down on it. Alright, so we can't brighten it up, but the phone is working. So now what we're going to do is there's two little clips. Oh, three actually. There's one there, but you also have this long one. So you're just going to put that in at an angle. See how I pushed it in? Push up towards the top. Now, you're going to walk your fingers down the sides. Walk, 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 walk. Just like that. It's all clipped in. And I just noticed that somebody must keep this in their back pocket because it's got a bow to it. Looks like they just stick it in their back pocket and their butt sits against it. That can and will eventually start bending your frame. Hence the reason why Apple is doing a titanium frame. They're trying to make it more durable. I'm sure they've gotten a lot of phones that have come in with the screens being busted and it being bowed. So we got these last screws in. It is all done. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share. I appreciate you.